look at them sort of in real time, and then maybe rewind them a couple times. So this is Mr. or Doctor, as your name suggests, Wisniewski, or Neski, they're going with. And let's look at the player builds here. So you are the Sivir in this game. And with Sivir, what we see is standard rune page, attack speed quintessences, flat attack damage marks, armor seals, magic resist glyphs, fervor battle. Okay, so everything here is prototypical standard AD carry type runes and masteries page. So let's go ahead and look at the matchup that we have right here. So it is a Sivir Blitzcrank lane against a Caitlyn Alistar lane. So let's start at the first highlight, or the first part that you mentioned here. 2 minutes and 14 seconds. I went for damage on Kate as Blitz hooked and missed 3 CS and got a lead. And then 250, I missed 3 more CS for no reason. And 315, I missed a siege. 338, I got a double kill. Oh, whoa, spoilers. Okay, so let's go ahead and hop into this. Oh, actually, we gotta close out on the other one over here, and I have to sneeze. Whew! Excuse me. Alright, so let's start the game. Typical AD carry stuff, Duran's Ring plus Potion. Head over to lane. We're going to look at Dr. Neski. We're going to go Fog of War for the blue. So we're only going to see what you saw during the game. Pretty standard Blitzcrank type invade. The other people on your team do not seem to be on the same page. It looks to be a mid lane Malphite? Mid lane Mundo? I guess we'll see. Typical engage coming through. I think you guys are a bit scatterbrained. We see the Shaco here, and the Shaco flashes, I imagine. Shaco does not flash. Get First Blood. Pretty good stuff. Not sure what's going on with the Shaco. Power Sism. I'm pretty sure if you're going to build a crit item, the first rapid fire is one of the better ones because it helps you deal with one of the champions. That is one idea. Static Shiv seems to be just the popular build path right now. So for this, we start off, you level up your Ricochet first. In most cases, we usually think about leveling up the Boomerang Blade for 2 reasons. Reason 1, it makes it easier just to sort of cleave these dudes here, so you're going to lose out on a little bit of mana. But when you give a really good leash, you might theoretically miss out on a couple of minions. And so Boomerang Blade is a good way from afar to clear the very, very low HP minions. But that doesn't seem to be the case here. Now, you're against a Caitlyn as a Sivir, and she's about to use Piltover Peacemaker on you. Maybe. The first thing that we have to consider is that if you look and think about the way that people play a champion like Sivir, right? The first thing that you want to consider is sort of the adage or the expression that people use a lot when talking about Sivir, which is this idea of sort of like Sivir and group. Now, one of the not downsides of Sivir and group is that you actually lose a little bit of dueling potential in comparison to a lot of champions. And Caitlyn's attack range is really, really annoying to deal with, but you have a lot of sustain if she's putting down traps because of your spell shield. So those are just, of this matchup, those are things to consider. Alistar as a support versus a Blitzcrank is awesome because if the Alistar wants to give up his body to get pulled in, that's much better than, say, a Nami or a Sona or someone else who is very squishy getting pulled in instead. So if Alistar gets pulled in, it's not the best case scenario. So let's play this. It's also worth noting that Ricochet functions as an auto attack reset. So, there is no ward that is being placed so far in this little bush. There's the ward. Blitzcrank goes in for the pull of justice. That was successful. Now, we have a couple of options here. Option 1, kill the Caitlyn. Option 2, kill the Caitlyn. And option 3, get this yes. So, Blitzcrank gets the pull. Unfortunately, doesn't have a knock-up. So the pull comes in here. The minions are in the way. You get a really good amount of harass off. And Alistair is a little bit late to the party. And you miss the CS. Now, yes, you missed the CS. And that's not good. It makes us sad. We miss CS. AD carriers are very particular about their CS, right? In this circumstance, the overall value that you get from missing the CS and the auto attacks that you're actually able to basically secure onto Caitlyn actually is more worthwhile than the actual damage or the creep score. So that's okay in this moment. You can't do both. You can't put the pressure on the Caitlyn and kill the minions when you're under tower. So you had to pick one. You went for the attacks on Caitlyn. Perfectly reasonable choice. Everything is good. Now, we know that damage has been dealt. Want to make sure that based on everything that's being had, that you have an opportunity once you get level 2 to maybe get another engage. It's also very interesting to me that the Alistair is playing so far away from the Caitlyn. You, hopefully, as the Blitzcrank has already done, want to make that a priority for you as you are moving forward. So what we're seeing here, you guys are level 2. The Blitzcrank now has his pull-up. He has his punch-you up in the Power Fist. And so a huge combo, probably incoming at this point here. All of a sudden you miss CS, not the worst case scenario right here. You have capped out mana, so you might actually want to use your Boomerang Blade as a way to harass, because you have a Blitzcrank that now has level 2, so he has his hook, his Power Fist knockup, and he has Ignite. So the more harass, the lower you get them early, the better it's going to be for you by the time you actually grab them. So imagine if this Caitlyn had about half HP, or a little bit more than half HP, because of one Boomerang Blade that hit her. That makes it so that you can actually definitely kill her if you were to successfully put her in as a Blitzcrank. And I imagine, based on the first Blitzcrank pull, he's going to be able to secure another one. Right here, so before the Blitzcrank even pulled, the first thing that came to my mind is, let's use Boomerang Blade to hit the Caitlyn. Now, Blitzcrank, first of all, I've never seen this actually paused. What a terrifying thing to actually witness. Blitzcrank gets the grab off, hits the Power Fist. All of a sudden, you're starting to ricochet, and you should definitely be able to kill this. Blitzcrank should have used the Ignite previously. He did not. All of a sudden, you have a very low Caitlyn who should be dead. She's not. She should be, because that was sort of like the beautiful sort of pull of the century for the Blitzcrank. Now, let's run the back one more time. Think about when you're as an AD carrier, any champion, when you're CSing, you have to do a really quick assessment based on what minions am I going for and what minions are they going for. So in this moment, we see Caitlyn use her Piltover Peacemaker because she has pretty much a line drive for these minions. Now, based on our positioning and based on where the minions are, we can basically draw a line from Caitlyn all the way across here. So what that tells us is it gives us a couple of avenues of information. Information 1, as we see this load up time, we see the Piltover Peacemaker happening, and we know it's going down this line, or at least we assume it's going down this line. We have Area 1 and Area 2 that we are not getting hit by the Piltover Peacemaker. We can actually use this area here to walk up, use our Boomerang Blade to harass her. Okay, so that's made. He's auto-attacking these minions, continuing to hit the ones that are low. So, rewind it one more time to sort of re-emphasize this point. in Caitlyn's mind, so sort of emphasizing this idea from a different perspective. In her mind, what we're thinking about is, you know, what is it that you can do? So if you're Caitlyn, you see your minion right here, and you're thinking, well, I don't have any minions to auto attack. This Sivir has a minion to auto attack. When she goes to auto attack and get the last hit on this minion, I have a free shot at her. Now, instead of doing that, you miss the auto attack, which is sort of just a mechanical misplay. That's okay. She decides to attack the minions. Now, when we're watching this, we're going to assume that you're going to go for this minion, and Caitlyn is going to go for this minion. All of a sudden, line drive. We see this line drive happening. We see the Piltover Peacemaker coming right here. Possible Boomerang Blade. We see her walking right there. All of a sudden, when she's within Boomerang Blade range, you have full mana, you can go for it. Blitzcrank gets the hook. You auto attack, Ricochet. Mechanically, if you auto attacked and then ricocheted, it would have auto attack reset, so you would have been able to get a second attack off. Caitlyn flashes, great harass with the Boomerang Blade here. Alistar is trying to set her up. And I imagine at this point, since she's so greedy, you guys should be able to secure this kill. Pull on the Alistar, not the best pull target, but with the Ignite, should be able to kill the Caitlyn. Great flash. That's 2 auto attacks that you missed. Great auto attacks, there's the Ricochet. 1, 2, Power Fist flash. Use your spell shield, anticipating the pushback from the headbutt. Excellent. Excellent, excellent play. Followed in with what was happening here. And the plays leading up to it weren't wrong. You didn't play anything incorrectly. There were just perhaps better ways at which you could utilize that full mana pool. You could utilize some of the abilities that you have. So that first exchange, things that could have been done better, but were actually done really well. So I commend you for that. So let's go ahead and check out the another timestamp that you talked about. You said 650 is this next part here that we're going to look at. So we're going to look at 650. And that's actually pretty close. So we're going to go to 647. Move around right here. And so at this point, actually let's rewind it just a little bit. You say, I just feel even though we got 2 kills, I'm still equal in CS. I would take 2 kills over a CS advantage every day of the week. 1,000 times over. One of the worst things that you could do for yourself is constantly look at CS and or kills and let it get to you. Missing a CS, that CS is gone. You can't get it back. The kill is gone. They can't get it back. You just have to think about where you are right now and what your skill set is and what your strengths are. So as we look at this exchange, we see that the Blitzcrank is kind of waddle, going after the Alistar once more. He can't break his chains because he's now level 6. You go ahead, hit him with a Boomerang Blade, but because of the inherent tankiness of the Alistar, you are unfortunately going to go ahead and have to expend a lot of resources to go for him. You say, most laning phases I do on AD carry, I feel like I don't win by CS only if I get a kill lead, but I rarely get a kill lead and don't have CS to fall back on. That's just a byproduct of you learning how to CS a little bit better. So you get the kill on Alistar, right? So you get the kill on Alistar. Now, the problem here, which getting a kill does not seem like a problem, and it isn't. The problem here is that you've expended Ignite as a resource. You're looking at your overall total HP, and the question is, do you follow? What resources do you have? In this particular case, you don't have a potion, but you do have heal. So you could use heal as a way to aggress a little bit forward. You do not, because the Blitzcrank decides to back off. I would think that he would decide to continue forward, especially because he has pull. And as a result of that, you take a pretty substantial amount of damage. Now, a couple of really quick items here. Let's rewind that. Now, roll one more. Go through this fight. Attack, then ricochet. Mechanical thing. Blitzcrank gets the pull off. Alistar is protecting Caitlyn. Ignite comes off. Alistar's dead. That's 1 hit, 2 hit. Now, okay. This is the part where we start to see two different ideologies or philosophies on League of Legends, sort of the tides that push forward the watership to split. I am in 100% agreement with you that you should pursue this kill, because Blitzcrank has his hook and he has his power fist, and you could absolutely kill that Caitlyn. But Blitzcrank isn't on the same page as you, and he's running back. Now, what does that mean? Essentially what it means, as the rhetorical question, I'm going to answer it. What it means is that you have to play and cater sometimes to the people that are around you. Just because you see an opening and just because you can aggress forward doesn't mean you necessarily have to. As a matter of fact, what we're about to see is that Piltover Peacemaker auto attack, because you are at that point, doesn't mean that you necessarily played it wrong. You just didn't play it in accordance with your support. Your support, in my mind, and I think in your mind as you were playing this, should have just continued forward, and you could have killed that Caitlyn. You had the potential to kill the Caitlyn. But because your support ran away, you too should follow suit. You're not a Vayne, you're not a Lucian, you can't just sort of dash forward and try to kill this person solo as a Sivir. You unfortunately had to back off there. Yeah, you take a lot of damage. So that's just something that you have to be a little bit more aware of. Also, something that's sort of bothering me a little bit, and this is something that people with Relic Shield do quite frequently, but you are very low. We don't have sight on their jungler, which is a Shaco with Ignite, which is terrifying. Your jungler should be just killing off all these minions. I think he's just trying to hide to theoretically spook pull the Caitlyn if she goes in for CS. But I would just push in as the Blitzcrank, give you the gold, give you the HP, and then try to hook her under tower and get her with a couple of auto attacks. There he goes in, he misses it, and now he should just be giving you the gold here. So he's just trying to be a little bit sneaky. At this point, do you as Sivir have enough firepower to actually kill off this Caitlyn? Now, I think the answer is no. I haven't watched this clip, but I'm going to go ahead and think, unless you hit an auto attack with an immediate ricochet, dodge the turret hit, and then come back with a throwing toss, a boomerang blade, plus an auto attack, those are the only conditions that you could bring the Caitlyn from 400 HP to dead. So, because you don't have this power, and your lane is completely pushed in, you should probably just back. We see you sort of trying to last hit harass under here, and now you decide to go in for this. Where's your support? Well, the Blitzcrank is gone. And you also know, more importantly, that the Caitlyn has further range than you. Not only does the Caitlyn have further range than you, but if you guys hit level 6 right away, she can definitely kill you, barring a spell shield, with her ace in the hole ultimate. Okay, you guys are level 6. Hey, what's going on, man? All of a sudden, you spent all this time hanging out with Caitlyn. You're down 3 CS, but you're up 2 kills and 2 assists. Your gold lead is just absolutely huge compared to her, right? Yeah, you have all this gold on top of her. So, one of the things that we want to think about is, well, the ace in the hole is 100 mana, right? So, if she were to ding to level 6 and not use any abilities, she would be able to get it. So you get level 6, you're deciding to push in this lane, you hit it with a ricochet, and you just had to run away. So that's just a consideration from the perspective of what could I have done a little bit differently, in the sense of once you see your Blitzcrank sort of dash away, the only thing that you can do is either trade with her or just go back, because your min is already pushed up, you have no idea where Shaco is, and you could actually be able to sort of die if the Alistar comes in. You don't know, I don't know if you've made a mental note, but you don't know if he has flash still. You say, I feel I should have backed earlier, as I would have gotten back for the wave and not missed a whole wave of experience. Correct. So, because you can't kill her under tower, and your minions are under the tower, and she's just farming, there's really no reason for you to be there. You don't have a support to help you kill her. You don't have the actual damage in your kit to do enough to her. So let's go ahead and look at one final time marker that you provide and try to make sense of this all. So we're gonna go to 950 and sort of see what happens here. But so far, I would be very, very happy with a lot of the gameplay footage that we're looking at right now. I would not let that get to you. So we are at 950. Actually, we're gonna have to back up a little bit to see what happens here. So we're back in lane. You have boots, 2 long swords, a BF sword, a Durand, and some potions that you haven't had previously. And Caitlyn finally comes back with a BF sword. So the overall damage is starting to get equalized. You have 146, she has 133. Fair enough damage. You have enough HP and mana. Jordan TV, I don't know if I am. We'll see. We'll see, depending on this last fight here. And let's just pull this up right now. Huzzah. Alright, so let's run this through. Okay, so first things first, we see that Caitlyn has headshot ready. You walk up to Caitlyn for her max damage, you go to trade with her, she gets a headshot in on you, and then you walk away. So, problem number 1. Blitzcrank going for another hook. This Blitzcrank's hooks, by the way, have been really, really good. Gets the hook, you go for the ricochet, you spell shield, so I think you spell shield the headbutt, but you don't spell shield the pulverize. And at this point, you use your ultimate, you flash away, and Alistair is about to kill you. There we go. Okay, so let's look at that interaction again, because that seems very weird. One of the things that, sort of first and foremost, that I want to be cognizant of, so hits you with a headshot, you cancel your auto attack, you run away. The thing that, if I was the Sivir in this moment, the thing that I would be thinking is, if Blitzcrank goes for the hook on the Caitlyn and it looks as though it's going to hit, I'm going to pop my ultimate. Now, the reason I want to do that is because, hit or not, when I use On the Hunt, I'm going to be able to actually go ahead and chase this. Now, Alistair's 6, so if you, let's say, grab Alistair instead, he uses Unbreakable Will, right, all of a sudden we're not going to be able to do damage, we're just going to back off. So you trade your ultimate for his ultimate. What we see here instead is the second this comes, again, you want to use On the Hunt when he goes for that ability. And we see that you use the spell shield, block the headbutt, get hit by the pulverize. You use your boomerang blade. Caitlyn flashes, and you flash in what I assume to be the direction you thought she was going to flash. Now, in this moment, just based on HP, based on the timing of everyone flashing, I would argue flashing forward doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And the reason why is because, well, number 1, we know that you die. But number 2, I think the Caitlyn is going to kill you, depending on the overall damage that's being dealt. And look, you barely live. Barely live. This could have went from a very good outcome to a very terrible outcome with the overall damage that was dealt. So instead of flashing forward, which I think is probably a panic flash, yeah, you can say it's a panic flash in the team fight, instead of flashing forward in this moment, you will definitely want to flash backwards. And this is something that is definitely easier said than done. And this is what makes League of Legends such a very complicated mentally fatiguing game, is that you have to think a couple steps ahead. And when you're thinking about last hitting, and when you're thinking about trading, what we see is that when you're sort of devoting all the resources into I gotta last hit, as opposed to just being habitual and your mind just naturally processing that, all of a sudden we only have so many mental faculties that we could put and really adjust around. So if you're thinking about last hitting and you're thinking about trading, all of a sudden we don't get to think about the next couple steps ahead. Now a lot of this comes down to what summoner spells do I have, what abilities do I have, and what should I do. Now the way that I was thinking about the situation, obviously not there, is how is it that we actually can use our abilities. So what I was thinking when we were at the beginning of this is, as a Sivir, when the Blitzcrank goes for the pull, the first thing that I want to do is use On the Hunt. Hit or miss of the grab, I want to use On the Hunt, because this is going to result in, number one, a fight, and number two, if the actual hook hits, we're in really good position. And number three, the Alistar's probably going to dive in on whoever it is. And so we want to fight this. We definitely want to fight this. You have a couple of item advantage. She went for Cull. You have a potion. You have 2 long swords on top of her. Overall, you're really good footing. So not only do I want to do that, but if the Alistar jumps on me, so phase 1 of logic and thinking. Phase 1, if Blitzcrank goes for the pull, we're using On the Hunt. Okay, done. Mentally cataloged. You've got it ready. You've got it prepared. Phase 2, if I see this happening and I get dove upon by the Alistar, I want to flash away from the Caitlyn. Now, the reason why I want to flash away from the Caitlyn is because the damage that's being dealt, we know that Caitlyn has double summoner spells. We want to make sure that we are not using this depending on our total amount of HP. So for me, if I am at about 50% HP and Caitlyn is equal or higher than me, I want to flash away. If I'm about 50% HP or lower and Caitlyn has equal or lower HP than me, I want to flash toward her. We replay this again. No On the Hunt popped. All of a sudden On the Hunt is popped. Now, based on the total HP, boom! Access to some of these skills. It could have been used a lot more effectively. To your point, 40% increased attack speed while Ricochet is active. That's 2 easy attacks in against the Caitlyn that you happen. You have these logical sequences. You don't have to think about what you're going to be doing because you've already thought about it. You thought about it before the panic and chaos ensued, right? You thought about it before you're in this circumstance and you're sort of getting hit by minions or you're getting chased by Alistar. And then, of course, On the Hunt, because of the ability that it provides you, the overall access to some of these skills, it could have been used a lot more effectively. To your point, 40% increased attack speed while Ricochet is active. That's 2 easy attacks in against the Caitlyn that you could have used. You didn't even need a flash if you had utilized that properly. So just sort of food for thought in terms of all of this. Cool. So, Mr. Dr. Nesky, I think you did well. I think you actually do really well. We're just going to sort of fly through a last second fight here where... Okay. See that you guys are dead and dying. It's a sort of Nexus fight. Blitzcrank flashes forward. You are starting to sort of come ahead with the Alistar sort of already dead. Going for the Nexus is a very demoralizing moment. You're going into the Shaco, auto attack, boomerang blade, turn around, go for the Alistar, and now everyone sort of comes through and dies. I'm curious how it is that you guys lose this game. You guys are making calls. I actually can't speed up the game. So, you're heading over here. Your itemization makes sense. Teleport. Coming in, and Zed just finishes. Honestly, that's just you guys knowing or not knowing that Zed was going to teleport. So, I'm not too worried about that. That one, you win some, you lose some. You actually weren't going to be able to kill the Zed. I don't think anyway. So, I'm not too upset about all of that. Okay. If I got a crit on the Zed, yeah, you could have got him. That's true. If you did crit the Zed, you would have been able. You would have been able to have killed him. That's okay. I'm not upset about that. You played well otherwise, so. I would just take that.